Ladies and gentlemen, here we are on Entomb Valley, and down in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss player from Evil Geniuses. It's JYP. His opponent here in the upper left-hand corner from LGIM, our pink Zerg player. Winner of the last game, it's ByuLinator. These games have gone back and forth so far. We had First to win a game, and we had Puma win a game. Now it was ByuLinator winning a game, so by process of deduction, has to be JYP who takes this.
Dude, that's some of my favorite games, the ones that are back and forth in the Team League.
I agree.
To this day, the favorite match that I've casted so far was Root versus FXO. Did I cast that with you, or was that with Andrew?
I
think it was with Andrew. Yes, because we screwed up the overlay and we did the wrong cast. So obviously it was Andrew. That
no, I watched that. I remember watching it because it was like 4 hours long. So, and I felt bad for you guys.
That was a good series. I really enjoyed it because the minigun with the hour and 12-minute game, I believe.
That one was that was a thing.
It definitely happened. Zerg OP, man. Spine colors and spore colors everywhere.
Yeah.
I enjoy having matches that come back and forth, It really adds to the storyline. It really shows the skill of the players and, of course, the picks that come out. So, really excited to see what we have in store for this game.
All right. Well, no surprise. Pylon being built to the front here for JYP. We'll see if he goes for Nexus first or if it's going to be something of the Forge first variety. JYP is very flexible in the early game. If he detects any hint of weakness, he can certainly switch for some sort of a cannon, something along those lines. He is, of course, going to pick up on Pool first, and nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever from ByuLinator, who wants to make sure he's not going to take any damage from any sort of shenanigans here at the beginning.
All right. We'll see if he's going to go for a Nexus first. We've been seeing a lot of players go for the Nexus first. And because on the natural, you don't have to wall off the lip of your ramp. You just kind of curve in your wall off. Right here where that pilot is, you put a couple of buildings on the top right and then a building on the bottom left, and then you just kind of make sure that nothing gets by with a couple of probes and you're good to go. So you kind of do it at a diagonal wall off, and then you finish off the wall off later. So been seeing a lot of Nexus first just because players know that they can do it securely.
Of course, my favorite builds here are the ultra greedy ones for Protoss players. Whoa, okay, now this is super greedy. If you pylon block an opponent while going for a Nexus first, you significantly delay the amount of time that your defensive structures can get put up back at home. And you are susceptible, even on a map as big as this, to some sort of a slowing run by. So this is a big risk from JYP right now. We'll see if it works out for him.
It may do so as well. Only 4 Lings and a Queen being queued up for our Zerg player here. And so JYP's okay with it. He realizes, you know what, ByuLinator didn't put a drone out to come scout, so more than likely he won't kind of put aggressive a play on me, so therefore I can get this pylon up and go for that third delay. But ByuLinator does a decent job of micro around that probe and gets that hatchery up.
And we mentioned before that second hatcheries usually pop up at about the 2:55 to 3 minute mark for Zerg players or something like that after a pool first. In this case, 3:50. So that was a significant delay, a 55-second delay here where JYP is actually going to have superior economy, and that's going to work out for him really, really well because he actually was able to establish the defensive photon cannon and the gateway. This guy's playing with no fear right now, and he's playing exceptionally well.
Yeah, certainly. And with him going for the Nexus first, that allows him to get about 5 to 6 probes out and have a little bit of lead on your opponent because of all those little shenanigans he had early on. So nice job here for JYP. Turtley takes a small advantage and turns it into a big one.
All right, so we mentioned the possibility of slowly run by. Well, 6 Lings at the beginning here is usually a little more than Zerg players are going to make. 2 to 4 is usually the amount you would see, but he did want to see if there was any sort of opportunity for him to just sneak on through and do some damage. Unfortunately, he did wait a little while to try and take out the pylon that was being constructed over at the natural, though, because he wanted to get that up as soon as possible.
Alrighty, so with Queen starting to pop out, ByuLinator will start moving into the economy that he wants to, really get those larva injects down, and this probe is moving straight up to this top right corner, wants to get in the natural, wants to see a gas. It's really his whole strategy here. Unfortunately, will not be happening as ByuLinator made sure to get off that probe kill. And looking into JYP, he's got 1, 2 assimilators, hasn't moved into a third quite yet. Should be having one within the next 30 seconds here.
Yeah, all depends on what he wants to do. If we see double assimilator here in about 10 seconds, that's going to be indicative of a bit later tech. If we see just one happen right about now, then we're going to see some sort of Immortal Sentry play. But it looks like he's actually holding off on those for a while, getting his +1 weapons and not really putting his gas into gateway units. There finally a Sentry pops up, but still no second or third gas, or I'm sorry, third or fourth gas quite yet.
Well, going to be using this 1 stalker here. to be trying to get rid of Overlord in any way, shape, or form. I was thinking maybe JYP might go for a really quick third. The problem is ByuL already has units down in that bottom left corner of that third, so there's no way he can get away with it. At that point, ByuL would essentially just go for really strong aggressive play on that third base. So
I really like that, though, because so many Protoss players in Wings of Liberty lately have been going for one gate, and then you build your second and third gates here in this wall, combine that with a photon cannon at the back, and then work at taking out the destructible rocks afterwards. So that really shuts down all of that from being a possibility, and indeed it did. Even though we're going to see a relatively early Nexus here, as this circling will get cleaned up. He had to build gateways 2, 3, and 4 off to the corner and not actually form those as part of the wall.
Yeah, certainly. That was the side effect here. I had to get my gateways first and move into my third Nexus, and it worked out very well here. All that happened because of only 5 Lings sitting outside of that third. So a nice raid by JYP, but a nice play there from ByuL by putting those Lings there to have that threat available. Behind this, we have JYP falling up into a Twilight Council. We'll start moving into those Blink Stalkers if you would like to move into that route. And looking into the main here of ByuL after we see that Overlord get killed off. See the Twilight Council, nice job. We have a lair already on the way, keeping up with the injects, is constantly moving up. Only it looks like 2 gases, no, a 3rd and 4th gas on the way now. So we'll see what ByuL wants to go into. If he grabs a 5th and 6th before this lair finishes up, he'll definitely move into Muta, but it looks like he's stay on 4, go in Evolution Chamber, and get the Roach Warren. So
well, I'm a little surprised, I have to say, that these structures are being built completely off to the side. The Evolution Chambers are a great way to provide some blockers up at the front. Now, ByuL clearly showed from the last game that he's very diligent about his creep spread. He's going to keep those up, and he'll be able to remain defensive off of that, but still a little surprising not to see any building positioning really being utilized here. After that, though, Macro Hatch coming up, Infestation Pit, gases number 5 and 6, so Pathogen Glands should be hitting pretty soon here.
Well, to be honest with you, lately, within like the last month and a half maybe, we've been seeing players put their Evolution Chamber and the Roach Warren a little bit further back, because players like Squirtle, I've seen, even JYP do it a couple times. They'll come in with Sentry heavy attacks, and they'll use those Evolution Chambers and those Roach Wardens to their advantage by landing great force fields. Ooh, a nice tag there with Lings. Oh my gosh, and speed hits as well. Don't want to fight the Zealots here, but still can keep tabs on them. Yeah,
definitely. Well, a couple of Zerglings are dying every time they actually get close to those Zealots there, but no, you're absolutely right. So we'll see here if that's going to pay off for ByuL here in the long run, or JYP planning on sending over a couple of units over to the natural, actually using probes here to take out the destructible rocks on the way. I'm sure Dustin Browder is happy somewhere.
Oh, he's crying. He's sad. The rocks are broken, man. That GIF. Have you seen that GIF?
I know. but there were pros that did it. They had to overcome so much.
That's true. They should get some kind of achievement.
Yeah.
That should be a Heart of the Swarm achievement. Roaches will be dealing with Zealots here, and that'll force JYP to pull back. Roach is just too strong against Zealots. No way, no form. And the Lings are actually coming around to grab these Zealots, keeping them at bay here so the Roaches can get to them, but unfortunately the Roaches' speed is not done yet, so the Zealots should be able to scurry on home.
Okay, so we've stabilized a little bit. This is pretty typical 3-base versus 3-base Protoss versus Zerg here on Entomb Valley. This is another one of those maps that has the potential to go for a very, very long time, especially if you get a Protoss player that kind of turtles on 4 bases. Then the Zerg player is going to take the initiative to Spinecrawler Forest everywhere and basically take the entire top portion of the map. It would not be surprised if ByuL detects any sort of passivity to just bunker up, lay down Spinecrawlers, take 6 hatcheries, and just start playing for super late game Broodlords.
Is that a pylon on the very far top right corner? Yep, it is a pylon. Okay, so +2 is finishing up, and we're having +3 move on already, and we also have 2 robotics facilities on the way, which really lends itself to believe that's going to be a +4, or no, 4 Colossus with a decent amount of Stalkers and a couple of Zealots mixed in to push across the middle of the map. That's what it's really looking like here, especially with that pylon being in the top right corner. He wants to make sure this 4th base does not complete and finish up, and then he'll go ahead and pull back if he sees that there's too many units out. So that's the whole plan, is to try and really prevent this 4th base from going up.
All right, well, these +2 Zealots actually dishing out some pretty good damage to these Zerglings here. A lot of those do end up dying at the same time. Zealots chugging away at this hatchery. They're not going to kill it. They will give it a bit of a scare, though, take it down a few hundred hit points, and then that's going to be about all she wrote.
Oh my gosh, so many Lings coming out. This is not looking good for ByuL, as everything is starting to line up.
Yeah.
Especially with the robotics facilities finishing up, and we're going to having double Colossus production out for JYP. He's going to melt this army. He doesn't want to kill anything right now, to be honest with you. That's why he's bringing all the Stalkers back to the natural, because he wants as many Lings on the field as possible. Oh, but a nice surround here from ByuL will catch those Stalkers off guard, and they will go down. And suddenly, aggression is available here for ByuL as JYP made a couple mistakes there.
Yeah, you actually hinted on a really good point, though, that he wanted to bring those back and not kill too many Zerglings. If he kills Zerglings now, they're just going to get replaced with high-tech units that he doesn't want on the field.
Yeah.
But if he actually delays for a while, this ends up being used as part of the unit composition, ByuL's not likely to just throw away mass amounts of Zerglings. He'll use them in a fight, then try and remax. At that point, though, if JYP can win the engagement convincingly enough, he can put on economic damage as just Zerglings and no high-tech units are being produced.
Kevin laying down the law, guys. It's exactly what JYP wanted to do. Unfortunately, ByuL made it to a point where he did lose a few lanes, but look at this. A drop heading straight into the natural hero with one lone sentry was going to be...
That was awesome. JYP, you have already won in my book, even if that just looks hilarious.
Well, you have some force fields, man. You're going to fungal me? I can spell you as well and just hold them back. But nonetheless, does lose the Warp Prism, does lose that aggression, but again, forces ByuL to pull back, and he has a majority of lanes of the field still here. So,
and he actually has a bunch of unused drones. They're finally actually putting them back on gas. So in the end, obviously, it sucked for him that he lost those without being able to do any damage whatsoever, but he exacts his own JYP-style revenge at the end. That being said, double Colossi already out, a third Colossus along with an Immortal being produced now, and this is a very well-developed army starting to appear on the field for JYP.
Yep, he's got +3 attack, Thermal Lance finishing up, all the things you need to kill a ground army of the Zerg player. Now, all he's got to do when he's moving forward to make sure how these Stalkers spread out, make sure to get an engagement where the Fungals aren't going to be wrecking him to the fullest amount here, and he should be okay. Moving forward right away, one Stalker does blink forward immediately in the moment here. The Colossus still isn't in this composition yet, though. He keeps showing pure Stalker, which should throw off ByuL a little bit. He's being very active. Oh, now he's moving into Corruptors. Okay, so he's gotten wind of it. That Ling showed the Colossus.
Pure Stalker is a pretty good indication of Colossus, though, because otherwise you'd have enough Zealots out there to support Archon play. Oh, God, good fungal growth actually locked down a lot of Stalkers. But look at that. Really, really nice force fields from the side as well. So even though there were so many chain fungals that started hitting the Stalkers up on top, it wasn't enough, and JYP was able to crush the army up at the front. Really, really well played there by JYP to turn that around after the initial great fungal growth from ByuL.
Yeah, well done. I would have liked to see the Stalkers be a little bit better there. He actually forced, he blinked straight into his force field so he didn't get over. If he would have gotten over and snapped these infestors, great. But still, great engagement for him as well. Retains a majority of his units here. And now we'll start littering pylons behind this army so he can keep moving forward. He's going to head straight for that fourth base. If he can kill that off, he'll be in a great position. And ByuL behind this goes for a counterattack, but JYP sees it. He gets Zealots warped in and grabs some photon cannons.
All right, Spine Crawler's repositioning here, and there are a few Corruptor subs, so he's going to have to deal with this army very effectively. Corruptor's starting to pick away at a couple of the Colossi. One of the Colossi was actually pinned down from fungal growth there for a second, but the Corruptor numbers are starting to decrease now, and there's still enough Colossi here that they're just raining terror on everything that falls across the ground. Really, JYP is in a magnificent position here.
Yep, even moving into Stargate here, can start transitioning into some Void Ray if he would like to. Blinking forward, jumping straight on top of the Roaches. He has the fourth base finishing up at the same time, so he'll be able to keep up with the aggression. 2 more Colossi, +1 armor being queued up as well. Slowly but surely, JYP is pushing on through, will get this hatchery killed off now, and it looks like with a pretty strong strategy with +3 attack, he's going to finally break through ByuL and kill that fourth hatchery.
Yeah, I'm GG there, and truly a GG from JYP. I mean, he had a really nice command of that after that big engagement with his great force field control, and I'm very impressed by that. Once again, for the second game in 3, an EG member comes in and really impresses me with being able to turn situations around. So very cool stuff from JYP there.
Yep, Puma and JYP, man, you guys got to quit doubting them. Gotta believe, man. Yeah, really well done overall. Again, ByuL was trying to waste Lings, it seemed like, trying to get engagements, but again, JYP never bit. You saw him constantly pulling back, trying to blink behind his walls, not killing off Lings, what kept those numbers so darn high. So his +3 attack with the Colossi just would have shredded through. We saw it. We saw all the Lings be killed off very quickly there, especially with great force field as well. Even with the Corruptors and a decent amount of Roaches popping out, it was still enough to push on through. So great job there by JYP. And we have Yoda coming out. And this is a great pick because JYP is not very strong in his PvT. So, and Yoda, on the other hand, is pretty good in all of his matchups. So they're wanting to bring out their big guns now and snipe out JYP. Yeah, not only have we had a player from each team just alternate wins, so I am, then EG, then I am, then EG. We've also kind of had a transition of races that's happened at the same time. What we started with, what was it here? I got to actually do a cheat sheet here. It was First versus Revival to kick things off. So we had a PVZ. Then we had a Terran player came in, then
a Zerg, then a Protoss, then a Terran. So, I mean, they just keep throwing in all cycles of non-mirror matchups. So it's very cool to watch the kind of, or pick up on the inner workings of the managers as they select their players. So for now, though, we're going to run to a commercial break. We're going to see who breaks this tie here in game number 5, if it's going to be Yoda continuing the trend and taking a game back for IM, or if JYP is going to keep rolling for EG. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.